direction. This is our city. It is forever our city. It will never be divided again, and there will be no Palestinian state.
Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most sacred, complex, and, let's face it, contested pieces of real estate on the entire planet, the city of Jerusalem.
So the source material we're analyzing today kicks things off with this, incredibly bold statement, claiming you invented oxygen. It's designed to completely shake up our whole idea of what it means to own a city that holds a spiritual claim on billions of people around the globe.
So, how do we even begin to unpack all of this? Well, the sources we're looking at suggest that you can't just look at it from one angle. You really have to see it through three different lenses. Its unbelievably layered history, its very unique and tangled legal status, and of course, the simple human reality of what's happening on the ground.
First up, let's talk history. And the way the sources describe Jerusalem's past is pretty poetic. It's not a solo performance by any one group. It's more like this divine and, often chaotic dance between three of the world's biggest religions.
And I gotta say, I love this concept they use, a palimpsest. It's like an ancient scroll where someone writes a new story over an old one, but you can still see the faint traces of the original text bleeding through. That's Jerusalem. History doesn't get erased here, it just gets a new layer on top. And all those old layers are still visible, all intertwined.
And this table just gets right to the heart of that tangle. For Judaism, it's the site of the ancient temples. It's the faith's beating heart. For Christianity, this is the very ground where Jesus was crucified and resurrected. It doesn't get more central than that. And for Islam, it's the spot where the Prophet Muhammad made his night journey. When you have stakes this high for all three, you can really start to see why any claim of exclusive ownership becomes so fraught.
And this timeline? Well, it just drives that point home, doesn't it? Control has changed hands over and over and over again for millennia. We're talking ancient Jewish kingdoms, the Romans, the Byzantine Christians, Muslim caliphates, the Ottomans, the British. It's like a historical layer cake, and every single one of those rulers left their mark.
Okay, so that's the historical pillar. Let's move on to the second one and see how this all builds. The complex, sometimes just baffling, world of international law, which has a very particular point of view on Jerusalem. Here's a key term you really got to know: corpus separatum. It's just Latin for a separated body. This was the foundational legal idea that came out of the 1947 UN partition plan. The whole vision was for Jerusalem to be this special international city, belonging to everyone and, at the same time, to no one. So here's the crucial point. You can see a really consistent pattern. You have the initial UN proposal, then you have resolutions after 1967 calling any annexation null and void. You've got a recent World Court opinion, UNESCO's designation. Again and again, the international community has basically said nope to any one country claiming total sovereignty.
The legal scholars in our sources land on this phrase. They say sovereignty is in abeyance. It's a fancy legal term, but it basically means it's suspended. It's on pause. There's this legal vacuum, and so far no single party has managed to fill it in a way that the international community recognizes as legitimate.
But look, this isn't just about ancient history or dusty legal documents. The analysis also points to the simple, powerful reality of the people who actually live in and worship in Jerusalem today. And what's really fascinating is how the city's actual demographics just blow up any narrative of exclusivity. You've got a population that's about 62% Jewish and 38% Palestinian, and that includes both Muslims and Christians. The city itself is a living mosaic. An exclusive claim just doesn't square with the reality of who calls this place home. And the stake here isn't just local, it's absolutely global. That number, 4.3 billion. That is the combined number of Jews, Christians, and Muslims worldwide. Just think about that for a second. More than half of all humanity has a deep spiritual connection to this one city. This is a global concern, plain and simple. So, given this impossible tangle of history and law and human reality, the sources we're examining don't just point out the problem. They actually propose a pretty radical new way of thinking about this whole thing. So what if we stop seeing Jerusalem as a property to be won or a capital to be conquered? This new model reframes it as a heritage trust city. The core idea is to shift our entire mindset away from ownership and towards guardianship, a shared responsibility to protect a place that really belongs to all of humanity. And you can see how fundamental this shift is. It's moving from exclusive control to shared guardianship, from a national capital to what the sources call a meta-national space,
something that exists beyond nations. This is not a small tweak, it's a complete reframing away from a prize that only fuels conflict and toward a shared legacy that demands coexistence.
The Palestinian philosopher Sari Nusseibeh puts the choice in the starkest possible terms. It's not about winning or losing. It's a choice between sharing the city or, through all the conflict over owning it, destroying it. There's really no third option.
And that ultimately leaves us with this final, powerful question. The sources suggest that the whole future of this city, and maybe a lesson for the rest of us, all hinges on the answer. Is Jerusalem a prize to be won, a symbol of our deepest divisions? Or could it become the ultimate testament to our shared humanity? The choice, it seems, is up to us.